1. Air India crash. New evidence suggests captain cut fuel to engines. 2. These are not two people on Tinder date. Expert defends Dreamliner pilots. 1. Air India crash. New evidence suggests captain cut fuel to engines. Imagine discovering that the very actions of a pilot might have directly led to a tragic airplane crash. This is the unsettling new insight emerging from recent investigations into the Air India disaster. But here's where it gets controversial. Preliminary evidence suggests that the captain may have intentionally cut fuel to the engines before the crash, raising serious questions about pilot actions and aircraft safety protocols. And this is the part most people miss. Such a move, if confirmed, could point to deliberate sabotage or a critical error, rather than mechanical failure. Recently, a cockpit recording from the flight involved in the deadly accident supports the theory that the captain deliberately manipulated the fuel switches, causing the engines to lose power. According to sources familiar with U.S. officials' early findings, the first officer, who was flying the Boeing 787 at the time, questioned the captain about why he had moved the fuel switches into a position that starved the engines of fuel. The first officer then requested that the captain restore the fuel flow, indicating concern over the switch's position. It's important to note that the official U.S. assessment remains unofficial and is based on initial evidence. The investigation into the June 12 crash in Ahmedabad, India, which claimed 260 lives, is still ongoing, and authorities have not yet released a definitive cause. While there is no cockpit video footage showing exactly who flipped the switches, the conversation captured in the cockpit voice recorder strongly suggests that the captain was responsible for the switch movement. According to early analysis, the crash itself was catastrophic. Immediately after takeoff, the aircraft lost engine power, as evidenced by the deployment of a backup energy device called a ram air turbine. An emergency measure activated when engines fail. The plane, which was headed to London's Gatwick Airport, began to descend rapidly after reaching just 650 feet altitude. Despite attempts to restart the engines by switching the fuel back to run, the aircraft was too low and too slow to recover, ultimately crashing into trees and a building, resulting in a fireball that killed 19 people on the ground and 241 of the 242 on board. In the wake of the accident, Air India's CEO, Campbell Wilson, stated in an internal memo that the preliminary report found no mechanical or maintenance faults, and all required checks had been completed. The investigation, led by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, has emphasized that it is too early to draw firm conclusions, warning against speculation fueled by selective media reports. Most aviation accidents involve multiple factors, and international regulations typically require a comprehensive final report within a year. The preliminary findings, however, do highlight a critical point. The fuel switches moved from run to cutoff just after takeoff, a move that could have been intentional or accidental. The investigation continues to analyze whether this was a deliberate act or a tragic mistake. Adding to the complexity, the aircraft's automatic systems attempted to compensate for the loss of engine power, but the aircraft was simply too low and too slow to recover, leading to the fatal crash. The incident has reignited debates about cockpit safety measures, especially the potential benefits of installing flight deck cameras, known as cockpit image recorders, that could provide visual evidence in future investigations. Meanwhile, authorities from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration and Boeing have issued private assurances that the fuel switch locks on Boeing aircraft are safe, countering some public fears. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, is also assisting with the investigation, with its chair, Jennifer Homendy, emphasizing the importance of learning from such rare but devastating events to improve aviation safety worldwide. So, what does this all mean? The emerging evidence points strongly toward pilot involvement in manipulating the fuel system, but investigators still need to thoroughly examine all possible factors before reaching a final conclusion. This case raises a provocative question. Should airlines and regulators consider installing cockpit cameras to prevent or better understand such incidents? Or is this move an invasion of privacy that could complicate investigations? What's your take? Do you believe the evidence points to pilot error, deliberate sabotage, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a debate that could reshape how we think about aviation safety in the future. 2. These are not two people on Tinder date. Expert defends Dreamliner pilots. Imagine this. Blame placed on pilots without fair investigation. Expert speaks out. New Delhi. In the heart of India's aviation community, a storm is brewing. Serious pilots are deeply troubled by the ongoing investigation into the tragic crash of Air India's Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. Feeling the spotlight unfairly shifts towards blaming the pilots. This sentiment was strongly echoed by Captain Sam Thomas, a leading aviation expert and the head of the Airline Pilots Association of India, ALPA India. In a candid conversation with NDTV on Thursday, Captain Thomas highlighted two major concerns.